This is Jonathan Ferguson, the Keeper of Firearms and Artillery at the Royal Armouries Museum in the UK, which houses a collection of thousands of iconic weapons from throughout history. And I'm your host, Dave Jewett, and today we are defrosting the Chief and returning to Halo for the weapons of Campaign Evolved.
Yeah, so here it is. Here's the elephant in the room that really does look very reminiscent. The standard foregrip rail cover on this, not a million miles away from the sort of ribbed version, almost EM2 reminiscent shape that's on the Halo gun. The shape of that shroud is just so reminiscent that even I would have to kind of say, God, it really does look reminiscent of it.
Cursed merch is back with 10 brand new cursed gun designs that you can find on shirts, hoodies, stickers, and more. And we also have this very fetching Hawaiian shirt design featuring cursed weapon designs from this year and some classics from last year. These will only be available until September, so make sure you check them out. Link in the description below. And if you want even more chat on the weapons of Halo, there is an extended edition on this episode over on our Patreon. Link in the description below. But now, without further ado, it's over to Jonathan. We are once again returning to Halo. This time the campaign has evolved.
Yes, but what into?
Shinier campaign.
Has this got bigger? Silly question.
I don't think so.
It looks huge.
It's always been this massive.
And did he always use two hands? This is going down a dark alley already, isn't it?
Well, it needs to be massive because it's chambered in 12.7 by 40mm. There's a thought that I saw people talking about in the Halo community that basically revolves around the idea that because the Spartans became the main troop and everyone was banking on the Spartans being the game changer, all of the weapons were made for Spartans and the Marines were like, make do.
Right. Maybe.
I don't know if that's something that has been written in after the first Halo and they're like, when we give the Marines weapons like the Magnum, they do look awful big.
Yeah, and caseless rounds? They look to be. I don't know why I'm going so high-pitched today. Caseless rounds. There's no case ejections. Oh, no, there is. Hang on.
I believe they are cased because one of the things about the Halo universe is the human weapons use sort of current era technology.
I know. Famously. Oh, fancy spinny flippy trick there. Yeah, but I don't know. I thought I could... I don't see anything ejecting from this thing. A lot of detail there on that commemorative edition, and it is quite reminiscent of current era commemorative pistols that are a little bit over the top. Like the SIG have done a couple of commemoratives with a bit of bling on them and some nice wooden grips. I think it's nicely done because, as I say, this is this sort of like my arms and armor predecessors would roll in their graves, and they're not even dead yet, over something like this being regarded as artistic. But it's very similar to the commemorative editions for the military that exist, certainly in America. So I like what they've done with it. I don't normally, you know me, don't normally like over-the-top decorated firearms in games, but it's completely in keeping to that level of decoration with what exists in the real world. Maybe a bit more gold than you would normally see. But again, this almost highlights to me the slightly crazy design of this pistol. So we have... iron sights, because the original version had iron sights, so fair enough. Maybe I would have retconned a red dot on there, but anyway, we've got like target style 2-dot and front dot blade sights. Fine. They don't quite work on the commemorative type edition because they're gold and they wouldn't work as well. None of them work great though, because we've got this great big humped shroud over the front of the slide on this design, which obscures it's like having a suppressor on a pistol without suppressor height sights. So you're obscuring your target, only much, much worse. Is this because of the HUD aiming thing?
I'll admit my Halo lore is not very well established. There'll be people in the comments being able to sound off and talk about the nitty-gritty Halo lore. All I know about Halo is if I say that a Space Marine can beat up a Spartan, we'll get 100 extra comments. So a Space Marine can beat up a Spartan. Thank you for the video. Thank you for the interaction.
Thank you for the sweet engagement.
yeah, appreciate that. But I believe like that original hump was supposed to be like the 2x optic that you get usually.
Oh.
That I guess is sometimes linked to the HUD.
Oh.
I think one of the additions that's come
don't
with
remember.
the new version, because the original Halo Combat Evolved Magnum did not have a front side post. So you can see here in the Combat Evolved version, that shroud that seems to be covering a laser and optic is covering that front sight post. Wasn't a thing in the original. So I think their drive to add more details, the weapon models, has sort of confused the weapon model.
Yes. Can't say that's an ideal move, to be honest, but I can see how it's happened. Interesting.
Get on it!
Right, now, what do we think about inspiration for this thing? I know we've talked about this in a past life, but...
It won't be the first time, attention, not the last time, that I get you to bring out an F2000 when we talk about Halo.
Yeah. So here it is. Here's the elephant in the room that really does look very reminiscent in silhouette. Although, so magazine on the actual Halo weapon is where? In the butt?
Yeah, it's a bullpup design in the butt, yeah.
Not up here where the F2000 is, but I think we could probably forgive that if we were trying to disentangle this. The standard foregrip rail cover on this, not million miles away from the sort of ribbed version, almost EM2 reminiscent shape that's on the Halo gun. The shape of that shroud is just so reminiscent that even I would have to kind of say, God, it really does look reminiscent of it. And of course on this, that is your objective lens of the optic that's inside that casing. Now, unfortunately, the timeline doesn't work for this, does it?
No, and Robert McLeese from the original Halo team himself said he had no idea that the F2000 even existed when he was designing the assault rifle. So
if we were going to say that that's, well, maybe it's a conspiracy, I guess we could now. Does anyone have the Art of Halo book? Because I don't have it, and I wonder if if there's a piece of concept art for the weapon with the year date on it, that would be the clincher to make this go away. All I'll say is the F2000, was it February 2001 at SHOT Show or Eurosatory or wherever that this first gets released into the gun press and the gun shows. That's far too early for them to have incorporated, I think. Unless it was one of the last weapons they designed, maybe. When does Halo get released?
November 15th, 2001.
I guess it's enough time for it to be plausible, but it seems unlikely, doesn't it? Timeline for development would suggest not. And he says not. So I'm going to trust him.
We've had this conversation about the assault rifle and the F2000 before, so I was actually like going back and looking up older designs.
Yeah.
And Halo was originally shown off during E3 2000. And the assault rifle design is in that early announcement trailer.
Well done. This is why you're the games journalist, Dave.
X. So I do think it is just a happy coincidence. And honestly, like the Halo assault rifle has become one of the most iconic sci-fi assault rifle designs we've ever had. Like it's still recognizable. It's still being iterated on. It has been in one of the biggest sci-fi game franchises. I don't want to take away from the assault rifle and say it's a spin-off on the F2000. So I'd say it's very much its own thing.
I happen to have paused at a very opportune moment here because it shows what a lot of care and attention they've put into redesigning this without breaking its silhouette. Bearing in mind, I suppose we've had multiple iterations of this anyway. But what I really do appreciate is we've got, and I guess it's a retcon of sorts, but I can't remember the guns from the later games or the iterations from later games, but a polymer lower receiver, trigger group, magazine housing, that's visibly a sort of almost pebble texture polymer. And the foregrip is the same, and the cheek piece is that as well. Some sort of pins or something holding it together there. Not quite clear how those work, but fine. The rotary switch there. A couple of other kind of bells and whistles that maybe don't seem to do much, which I've noted, I think, in the other ones. Very short throw on the cocking handle, again, which I've noted. But hey, we don't know what's going on under the hood. But we do know that it's cycling and feeding traditional 7.62 NATO rounds, which has always been a beef of mine.
The NATO edition is new, I think, because in the original Halo, the ammunition pouches say M118 7.62 by 51mm FMJ AP. They don't say NATO. So NATO still exists in the Halo universe. The campaign Evolved has canonized NATO's continued existence.
That's it's like they've doubled down, isn't it? On that highly unlikely 500 years in the future existence of the round. So unless the round is just maybe the only trace of NATO is this surviving standardized caliber, and that's why it's called, because we have plenty of cartridges that exist now that are still named after their original maker or even the model or type of rifle. Can't think of any examples, mind, but they do exist, and we still call them by that name because that's their market name. But overall, I like it. It is iconic, as you say. Sort of, I guess, derivative of the Marita from Starship Troopers, if I can say that without getting lynched.
We have brand new cursed merch featuring some brand new cursed gun designs, and we figured what better way to celebrate those than to use them to inflict some psychic damage on your friend and mine, Jonathan Ferguson.
Yeah. Now this strays thoroughly into the gun-canny valley for me. I do kind of hate the combination of those two guns.
There's three.
3 guns?
Vector lower, P90 magazine, AUG, optic.
Oh my word! What am I thinking? Yeah, wood for the trees. The P90. I was about to comment on the P90 mag as well. So you could make a gun that looks like this, maybe using casting for a AUG bit. And even though it's a hybrid of 3 guns, the M4 buttstock still annoys me as well, even though it's on the actual Vector. Whoa! What the hell? It works because you've got the brain-bending weirdness of the Showshat magazine and the sort of buffer tube hanging out over the stock. Those are not pleasant design features already. And then absolutely festooned with Picatinny rails. Yeah, horrifying. Including on the vertical grip, which obviously is the Showshat vertical grip. There is a Showshat somewhere under all of that. The little skinny bipod is another giveaway. And it's got an L-can on it, which somehow makes it worse.
The new Cursed collection is a limited edition, so get them while you can. But we've got t-shirts, hoodies, hats, stickers, pint glasses, and even a very fetching Hawaiian shirt. These will only be available until September, so check out expvideo.info or use the link in the description below to find the full collection. And now I'll get back to the video.
Oh, hello. Flip-top pistol.
What's really interesting is that as the iterations evolve and they get more detailed, this might be one of the first times that Halo fans are getting a look at some of the internals of the plasma pistol, because they've modeled like some of those animations and like the fidelity is continuing to increase. So I do appreciate how it's sort of pushing the lore a bit while using the old weapons.
You can kind of make it up as you go along with this kind of thing, because it's so far removed from anything we know. So the inside your artists can really go to town without the likes of me picking it apart.
I do also enjoy that when you get this third-person quote-unquote machinima view, the Covenant weapons look uncomfortable in a human hand. They do a really good job at communicating that these are weapons for a different species, a different anatomy.
Yeah. I suppose that kind of comes naturally when you're modeling a human hand with more increasing fidelity, and it was not going to mesh with your model anymore, so you've got to kind of work out how that would adapt.
Again, Halo fans sound off in the comments. I always interpreted the motion of the shaking the hand that it was burning.
Gang sign, no? Is that... I'm not
Booyakasha.
Sorry.
It was a heat effect.
Yes.
But I read somewhere that an overcharged plasma shot, the recoil is like super intense, and it's that effect.
Nah.
So I don't know. Halo people.
Nah.
You tell me which one's right.
I'm not buying that, because the hand he's shaking is supporting the front of the weapon. So any recoil would be not affecting that hand, it would be hurting his other hand. Also, I thought he was supposed to be quite tough.
That's not as tough as a Space Marine, but that is the word on the street. It's another 50 comments that we can put on.
Excellent. Now, battle rifle, one of my pet hate terms, I can't help thinking has been amplified by the very existence of this game, because it reinforces that the standard definition of a battle rifle. Well, does it actually? Because the assault rifle is in 7.62. What's this in? Same caliber?
I think it's in 9.5 by 40.
Ah, thank you. Okay, it's all coming back now. Not really. Yeah, so that's still that. It's not 5.56 versus 7.62 or 7.62 by 39 versus 7.62 by 54, but it's still that 2 hierarchy of power level, if you can put it that way. The only definition of battle rifle that makes any sense, realistically, is automatic rifle chambered for, in the case of a battle rifle, a quote full power cartridge. Of course, you now have to define what that means versus an intermediate cartridge, and those lines are blurring and getting harder to track as time goes on. But people kind of know one when they see it. And I guess if you put these side by side, certainly with the optic on there, you would probably say that's a battle rifle, that's an assault rifle. And the same is sort of true in the real world. But in an ideal world, we wouldn't use assault rifle, not for political reasons, because assault weapon is the made-up term, not assault rifle. It has a meaning, but it can still confuse. What confuses more is battle rifle, because it's used much more indiscriminately than assault rifle. I promised myself I wouldn't go on that rant, but I have anyway. Let's get the gun. I think the suggestion is that this is based more on the FAMAS. Is that right?
Yeah, I mean, there's not too many other bullpups of this style that I think it could take inspiration from. This a weapon first appeared in Halo 2. It was never actually in the original Halo, because this is present in the bonus missions that come with the campaign Evolved.
Ah, okay. Yeah, see, to me, and this kind of proves the point about the F2000 not being inspired by this and this not being inspired by the F2000, is this looks a hell of a lot like a VHS 2, which was not a twinkle in the Croatian milkman's eye when this gun was designed. So, I mean, if anything, you could say that and in fact, we have enough contacts to be able to ask this question, but I'm almost embarrassed to. Jordan, can you answer this question? Could they possibly have been inspired by the Halo battle rifle? It's at least possible in a way that it isn't for the F2000. I don't really buy the FAMAS. I mean, the FAMAS was a baseline inspiration for the VHS2. Doesn't actually share anything in common with it, but they definitely did some prototyping with this as a basis. Then the G36, and then it kind of became its own thing. It's really just the carry handle that's vaguely reminiscent, that isn't on the F2000. But yes, at least this fits the battle rifle definition better than most things, because it would have to be automatic, or in this case burst, to be a battle rifle. But the problem is that term was used right back to the 1960s, or 40s actually, for a rifle used in battle, which can be any rifle, or designed to be used in battle, which can be any military rifle. Good lord, what is that?
Yeah, so with a fresh version of a game comes fresh cosmetics, because of course it does. So now we've got Spartan. I wish they went more Greek inspired.
Yeah.
But like, this is very clearly like quite Roman.
Yes.
But I get it, you know.
Yeah, so much so, I didn't get it till you said Spartan. Sorry, artists.
This is actually one of my favourite Halo weapons, design and functionality wise. I've always loved the Needler.
It's very cool, yeah.
Even back with the original Combat Evolved, the fact that when you do a melee attack with the Needler, you're stabbing them with a rack of ammunition.
I love the way he looks like he's trying to get a sight picture through the forest of sharp, whatever they are. I mean, I think, given the hazards of trying to detail a load of stuff that was never meant to be that detailed, I think they've done a good job.
Yeah, updating it to modern graphics, it looks really great. Still has a lot of the Halo feel.
With remasters or remakes like this, they're trying to go for, and I think if you do it right, this is what you should go for, the version of the game that's in your head.
Yeah, I agree. What me as a 10-year-old thought the game actually looked like. So I've never really thought about how a Needler reloads, how those new...
I think we tried to last time.
Sudanese crystals reappear.
Yeah.
But I think the fact that I don't really overthink about the Needler reloading is because I just think it's a cool design, and that sort of overlaps the dissection part of my brain.
Safe to say, I can't really imagine how this works.
No. It's also, that's the thing, it's also so absurd that you can't really start to think about it.
Yeah, it's one of these things where you could have come up with, like if they'd been more inspired by the Quake 1 needle gun or something, where it's more plausible, like a nail gun magazine of darts or whatever. Well, nails, famously. 9-inch nails, in fact. You have them stacked up in a way where it sort of at least makes intuitive sense they're getting sent down range electromagnetically or something. In this case, they obviously loved their own idea of the visual of them sticking out like a shock of punk hair or something, and then they just go down range somehow. Let's not worry about it. And I think if everyone listened to me, we'd be in trouble to an extent. Okay, so how are we dealing with giant shoulder-fired weapons like the rocket launcher? Lots of large warning labels. That's always a good start. Okay, so we are... the actual weapon appears to be not very much. And we are magically disappearing most of the gun or the weapon when we fire it. It looks like it vanishes into thin air and then appears on the floor next to you.
Yeah, the third-person animations are less detailed than the first-person ones, because you can't tell in third-person that the two munition tubes also rotate.
I believe I've said this before, but I don't know why they rotate. There's no breech mechanism that the barrels are aligning with, surely.
No, it's all open. It's so open, in fact, they've actually modelled like backblast.
It appears to be a recoilless design, so it shouldn't be physically recoiling, especially not in the hands of... I mean, he's no space marine.
Thank you. I've been saying a lot.
I'm joining in. I'm like the school bully's best mate going, yeah.
Take that, John Halo.
Yeah, I wouldn't imagine any felt recoil per se, and certainly not. Well, it's either got it or it hasn't. If it's got it, then it's going to rock some in his hands, I guess. It seems like it shouldn't have it, though. But it's all part of the cinematic kind of vibe.
I think having 2 shots fired in quick succession helped separate it from other sci-fi rocket launcher designs at the time. And because of the sort of power creep of Covenant technology, you see a ghost, you see a banshee, you then see a wraith, you see the hunters. Some things to feel tough need to be able to shrug off at least one of these shots, and it's a sort of like skill test to see if you can land up that second one before that hunter can fire a fuel rod at you or something. It
still has that very slow traveling munition as well, which, as you say, gives you that difficulty curve. Well, not curve, but difficulty. Sort of superfluous carrying handle on the top, but I guess you have to carry it by something, so maybe not superfluous in theory. Now, this is where I get the chance to walk back something I've been saying for... How long have we been doing this? A number of years, where I say, oh, not a pump action in space, that makes no sense, we already use semi-autos. Well, mostly militaries do use semi-automatic shotguns. However, quite prominently, the British military have just adopted a pump action. And goodness knows the internet commenters aren't happy about it.
That comment could be inserted almost anywhere.
Yeah, it could. The logic is, so it's based on a short barrel breaching shotgun with a box magazine, because it's short barreled, therefore short tubed, short magazined. That made plenty of sense. You don't need rapid fire and sight picture and everything from a breaching shotgun that you might use in a pinch for combat use. A counter drone shotgun, I have to admit, makes a bit less sense to me as well. But I am assured that the drive there was for reliability, with different ammunition types potentially. Now, others have pointed out that you can easily short stroke a pump action shotgun. So the debate is somewhat reopened, let's put it that way. Mr. Halo here gets a possible future plausibility for his really quite conventional pump action shotgun, with its retro glow-in-the-dark night sights, aesthetically in keeping with the other weapons in the game originally, I think. Although this almost feels like it's got a bit of Benelli M4 buttstock going on when I'm looking at the icon. I don't know if that's original to the design. Yeah, I think we kind of gave it a pass before on the basis that, well, it's pump action, but it's clearly for Spartans. The advantage there is it's giant shells, and maybe semi-autos wouldn't handle 8 ball too well. Whatever. Yeah, it's fine. It's a pump action because pump actions are cool.
Going back and replaying the campaign, with a bit more experience, it gave me a fresh appreciation of how the shotgun is introduced. It's given to you just before you start fighting these enemies that form blobs of spider-like entities or charge at you into melee. Previously, you've been fighting things at range. Elites will stay far away from you. Grunts will run away sometimes. Whereas all the Flood, they get in close because that is how they attack you. And the game gives you the shotgun just before that kicks off. So it is a very well-implemented shotgun, and it appears just when you need it. And it's that... We've talked about it before, especially when it comes to horror games. The fact that you have to pump the gun dials up the tension a bit, and when you're fighting these horrible, terrifying enemies, it complements the enemy as well.
Other way to do it, of course, would be semi-auto, but just dial down the kind of recovery speed, effective rate of fire, and make it feel like the recoil is what's slowing you down. Which seems reasonable, but people love pump actions, understandably.
Taking fire! Nice and clean. Keep it up.
Now, fair play to the sniper rifle. It's fairly distinctive. One of the harder weapons in an inventory to make distinctive, but still recognisably a sniper rifle. And I think Halo's always done a good job of that. Now, we talked real-world inspiration for this before, and now I've forgotten what it's supposed to be based on.
The thing that I mean, only since learning about the weapon,
The Denel.
I always
The
wondered
Denel.
if the Denel and
Yes.
NTW20.
Yes,
But I don't know if that's just because of the handle over the optic.
It's primarily that, yeah. But it's a distinctive enough design feature, and given the, it's like an AMR with the brake and the big mag and the big round. Those three features are enough to say they must have seen that. I think the timeline for that works. Yeah, weird skin thing going on.
I included this one because it's got a skull on it, and I know you
Yeah,
love things with skulls on.
I
Well,
do.
part of skull.
I do love skulls, yeah. That's just a jawbone, though. Oh, what's with the weird M16 shaped front sight?
I didn't notice that. That's like a M16 front gas block and sight cover, isn't it?
Yes, but without a sight post in it. In fact, without the shape for the actual gas block bit. It's just the frame of the sight, really. Yeah, I can't say I'm a fan of that, really. Anything goes in the less grim, dark future, I guess, but the reciprocating cocking handle gives me the heebie-jeebies. Better hope your forearm doesn't get anywhere near that. And you better not snag it on anything and accidentally take your bolt out of battery or even eject the round that's in the chamber. That's a honking great charging handle, especially one that's reciprocating. Yeah.
When I played this game when I was younger, I'd always give the Marines my cool weapons when it only had one bullet left.
Yeah.
Because they got infinite ammo.
Yeah. I remember that trick. This is, was I thinking of this or the Gears of War double bayonet thing when we've got the Sterling prototype submachine gun that has two bayonets on it, but it's designed to take one or the other, but it's on the wall with both of them on it because it looks cool, and it reminds me of stuff like this.
This does have two bayonets.
Yeah, always a problem with this design though. How are you going to insert those blades in someone?
Yeah, they're always shown as hacking weapons.
Well, there's your answer. It's a cut, not a thrust blade.
I on the Halopedia page, apparently it's also called the hatchet gun. So
okay, all right. I mean, it's going to be quite hard to get the edge alignment right when they're positioned like this and not like this or whatever. Having said that, if you just push this in the direction of someone's face, I think they're in for a bad time regardless.
I have always enjoyed the contrast of the brute weapon compared to the sleek Covenant weapons, though. Like this thing looks rough. It's got a weird sort of engine effect as it's firing.
Yeah, like a jet
Bits
engine
of it are
almost.
rattling. It's got these, quite brutal blades on it.
I think I can give it the leather wrap on the grip and the other bits a pass as well because it's because it's sci-fi. Normally annoys me, but that would actually be not very comfortable to hold, I think I can safely say. Some very stylized, I was going to say iron sights, but not really. There's, again, not really much consideration to aiming on these designs. But, you know, I'm glad what they haven't done is slap a Picatinny rail and a ACOG on all the guns in the game, which they could have done, which was a fear of mine on your behalf, really, for Space Marine 2, when we saw those like rail-looking things. But they managed to get away with it there. They haven't gone that route here. They've kept things pretty faithful. I think the only thing that feels modernized is the SMG. Now, obviously, though, features like that would make absolutely no sense on the alien weapons anyway.
Figured we'd show off the turret of the Warthog to round us out. I was drawn to include this because I'd recently watched the Fat Electrician's video. He did a video on the ISV, the new Jeep.
Oh, okay.
Which looks a little bit like a Warthog.
Now I can well believe that there's some vehicle inspiration going on these days. This franchise has been around for long enough that you've got to think some of these modern military vehicle designs are. The very least, we know from the XM8 program that military procurement can fall for something that looks, or even request something that looks more sci-fi. And with vehicles, at the end of the day, it's also true of things like rifles. The casing, bodywork in the case of a vehicle, to some extent is cosmetic, so why not? The gun itself is very slow spinning, or appears to be. It's not a super high rate of fire on it though, is it? It's quite sedate for a Gatling gun. Quite large caliber, I guess.
Yeah. I think the original, I believe it's supposed to be 50 BMG or equivalent. Because I think the original application was as a anti-aircraft gun. 12.7 by 99 high velocity explosive rounds, apparently. And you know, what says Halo, quite like doing donuts while the Marine in the back is spewing rounds.
Now, this might actually be the closest thing to a current year gun that's just in the game in the future. Albeit the actual receiver is not necessarily the same, but the three barrels, the 50 BMG chambering, the triangular arrangement with the sort of armature at the front. The GAU 19 is from the 1980s, not wildly well known, but it's a real military 50 caliber triple barrel Gatling gun. They've literally just taken that and put it on the Warthog with a kind of, maybe if they'd had the graphical fidelity we have now, then they would have made the receiver look more like the GAU 19s. Here it's very stylized and boxed in, and they've gone with that. But then that can just be a casing, like a carapace. We've seen 50 BMG M2s in all sorts of casings, especially in remote weapon stations, sentry gun setups, that kind of thing, where inside is that 100-year-old gun, but the outside looks quite sci-fi. So, interesting. That is, in fact, based on a real gun. And almost certainly because of that triangular profile, the chambering, the three barrels. Otherwise, they'd have given it more barrels, I would guess.
Nice and smooth now.
Thank you all for watching. We hope you enjoyed the episode. Like the video if you did. Subscribe for more. And of course, let us know in the comment section below what the games, movies, TV shows, or beyond you would like to see on the show. As always, massive shout out to all of our wonderful supporters over on the Patreon who allow us to make cool content like this. Links to support Jonathan and the Royal Armouries will also be in the description below, so make sure you check those out as well. But until next time, thank you again for watching, and I'll see you very soon.